Well, the major conclusion is for central banks, and particularly the Bank of England, that has actually ignored things like credit and the money supply for so long. They've been so fixated on the idea that the interest rate is all that's needed. Why do they do that? Because they think that by using the interest rate and a target for inflation, they influence expectations. And that's all they have to do. If you influence expectations, then you influence inflation. Well, they're half right. I mean, we've just shown that inflation expectations does affect inflation, but inflation expectations is not independent of the money supply, and therefore they can't ignore that. They can't just say, oh, we've got an inflation target, and all we have to do is just fix the rate of interest that influences what we think is inflation expectations. Well, they've been proved wrong, because what happened, of course, was that following quantitative easing, and then again, as a consequence of the pandemic, the second round of quantitative easing following the pandemic, we saw the money supply exploding, not just in the UK, but in the US and other countries. And what did we see? We see inflation taking off. Now, of course, the Bank of England and other central banks fall back on ad hoc arguments, and there's some merit to these arguments. They can talk about the Ukrainian war. They can talk about prices of fuel and energy and all these things, and food. All these things matter. But in fact, what the money supply does is affect all prices, not just one price. And that is what's happening. We can see core inflation, what is underlying all prices, are all rising at the same time.